Implementation overview. How we set up the evaluation. First thing we ask you to do is identify two similar ability Year 2 or Year 3 classes in the same year group. Then complete the pre-assessment spelling test with both classes. Then enter the data into the What Word Teachers platform, which will then randomly allocate a class to the intervention and one to the comparison class. The intervention class will use this for the duration of the trial, and then the comparison will continue as business as usual. At the end of the trial, both groups complete the post-assessment test, which is the same as the pre. When the data is inputted into the platform, it will generate an impact report. If this proves a positive approach, then you can open it up to the comparison class. So let's look at this from a step-by-step planning approach. Step 1. Identify two similar ability classes to participate in the evaluation from the same year group. Step 2. Identify 40 challenging words from the National Curriculum Guidance. These will be introduced incrementally by 10 new spellings each week over 4 weeks. Select 20 words to use as a pre and then post-assessment task. These will be the same for both assessments. Step 3. Complete the pre-assessment spelling test with both classes. Record the marks in the Excel tracker and then input these into the pre-test on the trial wizard. As you're using class level data, it's always best to have the other class teacher read out the scores while you input these into the platform. So implementation. Using the trial wizard on the What Word Teachers platform, randomly assign classes to the intervention and comparison group. The intervention class will deliver the targeted intervention. This variation of the trial introduces learners to 10 spellings over a week with a review on the next Monday. So the spellings, rather than give them all on the Monday, they're incrementally introduced during the week. The comparison group will continue with business as usual for the duration of the trial. Step 6. Complete the post-assessment spelling test, which is the same as the pre, to both the intervention and comparison groups. Record the marks in your Excel tracker and then input these into the post-test on the trial wizard. So the intervention is a targeted spelling intervention which focuses on Year 2 and Year 3 pupils. It's delivered by a teacher and can be set as homework. Each session will be daily and will introduce 2 or 3 words with a review on the next Monday. 10 new words will be learned per week with a consolidation in week 5. The strategy uses the look, say, cover, write, check, which is a method of learning spelling where children study a word, say the word aloud clearly, pay attention to the spelling, cover it up with a piece of paper or their hand, write the spelling next to the original word, check their version to see if they got it right, write the correct spelling again if necessary. And this version of the spelling strategy emphasizes reading and saying the word aloud to help connect the written and spoken word. So how to select the spellings. So the DfE National Curriculum includes guidance on the expected spellings for Year 2-3. Use this to create a list of 40 words that you will select for the intervention. 20 of these will be used for the pre and the post assessment task. Each week the learners will practice 10 new spellings using the strategy. In the resource folder you will find a template that you can use, and you'll also find the tracking spreadsheet which allows you to link the anonymized learner on the platform to a student in each class. The only thing we ask you to do is identify which class is the intervention and control on your tracking spreadsheet when this is allocated by the platform. So key considerations. Logistical issues need to be considered before using a targeted spelling strategy. Is there a suitable time of the day for the delivery? Reminders if it's set for homework. Resources, can you print off the templates in advance if you're using these? And then will you link this to any rewards? So logistical barriers are common in any intervention that's delivered in schools, so it's just important to consider these prior to starting. Finally, moving on to the assessment, the outcome measure is attainment as defined by the pre and post spelling test. The assessment is marked out of 20 and is the same for both the pre and the post. As both the comparison and intervention groups receive the same assessment, familiarity should not bias the effect. Assessment guidance. Complete the assessment under test conditions. Allow approximately 10 to 15 minutes, and if you can provide a word in the sentence for each spelling, and then record your pre and post assessment scores on the tracking spreadsheet and the platform. So that is the end of your implementation guidance. The next thing to do is to download the research protocol, the resource folder, and then start your trial wizard.